Hey, Falcons fans and NFL fans, welcome to another episode of NFL Jocks and Pigskins with Tom Pollen. I'm Dave Holcomb. Apologize for starting a little bit late today. Chris Mitherman, our producer, is on the road, kind of a last-minute thing that, I think his move was planned, but it's last minute that he wasn't going to be here today, so that sent us scrambling a little bit to start today. But we're off and running here. We're going to talk about the NFL. This isn't a new development, them bringing back the ability to have a second helmet, but the Falcons this week revealed the second helmet that they're going to have. So this rule change that came into effect about a year ago is going to allow the Falcons to bring back their red helmet, and they were sharing it on social media this week, and it looks really sharp. I really like the way it looks. They're going to wear it.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, I think it's about time they were able to go back to the red helmets. So, they've done a good job with them.
And at OTAs, a guy that we talked about a little bit as a quarterback last year, Felipe Franks, is trying out a different position. And we debated, whether Arthur Smith kind of sees him as a Taysom Hill type player. We talked about that last fall, and we'll talk more about that today as Franks is getting a tryout at a different position. And of course, let us know if there's any other topics that you want to get to. It's a good time to get to, your topics, because as we go into July and August and into the season, we're going to have our agenda that we're filling the hour show with. So if you have a question, comment, anytime is good, but particularly the next month and today, because off season is the time to really talk about anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's open season now. I know OTAs and team activities don't quite fill the bills. So this is the time to get a lot of stuff out off your chest that you might have been saving up all year. Let us know. You have to excuse me a little bit today. I'm still going through a little bit of hay fever. So I may not sound at my best all day today, but, playing hurt. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're glad you were able to be with us, Tom. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better from the last few days of having that hay fever. But so let's talk about the helmet rule change that came into effect, I believe, last year, repealing a rule that was put into the NFL in 2013 for player safety, which I kind of want to vent about a little bit here to start, because I guess what I read this morning was the argument was that a helmet that is worn in is safer to wear than a new helmet, which is why you wouldn't want to have an alternate helmet, because the alternate helmet isn't worn as much as the regular helmet is. And I guess maybe this is me not playing football in my life, but my question on the professional level, I mean, I understand that when you play football in high school, you're going to wear someone else's helmet.
Right.
But aren't their helmets customized anyway? Like if Matt Ryan, is now going to play for the Colts, does Matt Ryan get Carson Wentz's helmet, or does he get his own helmet? That's brand new.
His own helmet.
Right. It's brand new. So I don't understand why the idea of a brand new helmet is okay for free agents and new players to wear, but is not okay for an alternate helmet. That was at least that's what the NFL said for a decade.
And the thing is, it really doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't. And it's not the big hits that make the difference with players. It's the little hits. So it's not like you're helping anything by restricting their helmet use. At the beginning of the season, you go in a few games, the helmet's been knocked around a little bit. It's maybe a little bit more broken in, but I can't see it making that big of a difference. And I just think it went along with the NFL with their more uniform rules where they wanted everybody conforming to one uniform, and that was it. Same socks, same shoes, same helmet, and all that. So I don't think the safety issue ever played a part of it. I think the NFL plays up the safety issue as much as they can because, they don't have a real solution for it. There really isn't a solution for it, but they want to make it seem like they're taking action about it.
Right. But the argument I would make is it in the few instances where they actually are taking real strides with player safety, I can't take it seriously because then there are so many other instances where they think wearing a new helmet or a broken in helmet is going to make a difference. And it as you just explained, it really shouldn't. And you can't have everyone wear a broken in helmet every year because of all the player changes.
Right.
So, I don't it waters down and hurts the NFL's attempt at player safety, I think, by blaming things that you want to accomplish something else and blaming it on, well, we can't do it because of the player safety, which seemed to be what the helmet thing was for about almost 10 years.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden it's, it really isn't the helmet.
Right. All of a sudden it's all right. The science.
Yeah, it's okay. We're fine with you wearing one helmet for a game, that or a different helmet for a game or a throwback helmet for a game. That's okay now. And granted, the science behind helmet construction is advanced, but I don't think it's advanced that far where, a new helmet is going to do more to protect the broken in helmet or the other way around. So
couldn't they practice with the red helmet this summer too, to wear it in a little bit before they play the game?
Why not?
And every team could do that if you have
an
alternate helmet.
So then you go into the season, you already got that new helmet broken in. You're right. I mean, there's so many silly arguments. There's so many ways to counter the NFL silly arguments about this whole thing that you really can't take it seriously.
Well, at the end of the day, the NFL has, I think, rightfully decided that you can wear a second helmet now, and that really makes all fans happy. I don't think I've seen anything where someone's upset about an alternate helmet, and that's
neither do I. I think it's interesting to call up parts of a team's past every now and then. It doesn't hurt. That's why they started doing the throwback uniforms because it's money, and they're doing the new helmet thing because it's money. Because now they can sell the new helmets.
But you can't really do throwback uniforms without the throwback helmet.
No, you can't. Absolutely can't.
I think the best example of that was the Los Angeles Rams a few years ago, or maybe even last year or the year before. I forget when, but they wore their like 1999 Super Bowl jerseys a couple times, but they're wearing their They wore the like white and
they wore the white horns,
and the white horns, and it doesn't match, obviously.
Right. It's not the same thing. So that's kind of it doesn't work. If you want to do throwback, go let's go all the way with it. But it all comes down to money too. So they get NFL makes more money if you have the helmet to go along with the uniform. So, it's fun. I like it because, I'm an old school guy. So I like seeing some of these uniform looks come back. And it's fun to see. It's fun to see, teams playing in a look from about, 15, 20 years ago. So I'm going to enjoy it.
I was going to ask. With the Falcons red helmet, I mean, I think that could be their regular helmet, to be honest. Like, I really love the red helmet look.
So do I. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because Jerry Glanville, when he took over as coach in 1990, wanted to go to the all-black look. Because that was his persona. He wore all black on the sidelines. He thought it was tougher. He thought it would, the Falcons had been a struggling team for so long. He wanted to give them a tougher look, and that's where all the black came from. But I think the red helmet is striking, and I really do like it. I like it with the red jersey. And it sounds like the Falcons are going to team up the red helmet with the red jersey to play this year. So, it's going to be a sharp look.
And from what I've seen on the helmet, it's the old school bird.
Yes, it is.
There's only people really looking at the details are going to notice, but it's not the modernized Falcon. It's the old school kind of claw, not 3D not 3D dimensional Falcon like we see in a lot of the logos today. Like the lion became 3D sort of with in Detroit. When I was a kid, it was like it was just a flat blue lion. The Falcon was kind of just a flat black, maybe one line or two in it, and that's what they're going to have on that red helmet.
Yeah, and I like it. I think it's great. So it looks sharp. I've taken a look at them. They look very sharp. I like how this is going to come off. What I would love to see is the Falcons wearing their red helmets and red jerseys when they play the Buccaneers, and have the Buccaneers wear the creamsicle with the Bucco Bruce helmet.
Right.
That would be fun. Because I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the creamsicles. So those are always a fun look. No, they were never good wearing the creamsicle uniforms. I don't think it was the uniforms. I think it was the players they put inside the uniforms.
Right. Yeah. I think they went to one championship game with those uniforms, but for the most part,
they did.
Their history was really bad with those jerseys.
With Doug Williams as quarterback.
Right. Yeah. 1979. I think those uniforms, unlike the Falcons retro, where I think they could really wear those full time, the creamsicle ones are good just one time a year.
Yes,
because they're almost so bad that they're good. And you don't want to be wearing a jersey that's so bad that it's good all the time. But
I know,
once a year, and they're better than some of the other bad retro uniforms. That
they are.
The Broncos had a really bad one.
I don't think Packers always have a terrible.
Yeah, the Packers had a really bad one. The Steelers had a really bad one from the 30s or something.
Yeah, the Bumblebee one.
Yeah, awful. Like Ben Roethlisberger's best game in his career is in those stupid Bumblebee jerseys, and if you're watching highlights of that, it's like, what is he wearing? What is that? But,
yeah. Well, the Steelers were bad for a long time. You never know. Maybe it was the uniforms.
Maybe it was.
Before 1970, that was a pretty bad team.
It's true. So you mentioned the Buccaneers creamsicles. What other retro jerseys do you want to see, or retro helmets do you want to see? And I want to propose that question to our listeners too. Send us your comments on what retro helmet, other than the red Falcons helmet, do you want to see this year or in the years to come?
Yeah, let us know. I would love to hear from the audience and find out what they feel about some of these retro helmets and retro uniforms, and see what they would like to see. It'd be fascinating. One for me is Patriot Pat. Be nice to see him back on the helmet, because I don't like the streamlined Patriots helmet. I have never liked that look. I like the Patriot Pat look.
I don't love the Patriot Pat look, but it's definitely better than the upside down Nike logo.
Yeah, yes, there you go. And that's the place that designed all this crap.
They designed the Patriots logo?
I think they probably had to have, hadn't they?
I don't know. It looks like
doesn't Nike just kind of do that stuff just for the hell of it, and everybody picks it up? I don't like it. I've never liked it.
Well, I don't know.
If you want to beef up Patriot Pat a little bit more, you could do that. But
I was going to say Nike, if I remember my jersey history correctly, I don't think Nike became the jersey producer for the NFL until like 2012. It used to be Adidas. So unless it was Nike before that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember. I really don't.
When did the Patriots switch? Because 85 Super Bowl, they were
the Patriot hat in 85 uniform. Super
and then
Bowl.
in 1996 they went to the Super Bowl. They had what they currently have, the new logo.
I'm not sure when they made that switch, but it's I gotta
somewhere in between 85 and 96.
Right, and I wish I could come up with it. Looks like 94 they were wearing that updated logo. I got some pictures in front of me here.
Should be able to go to Pro Football Reference. They usually have just the logo.
They just have the logo. They don't give you the helmet.
Well, yeah, but the logo is usually what's on the helmet.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes it is, but yeah.
But if there's other changes to the helmet, then that you won't see that on Pro Football Reference. But if the logo has changed, like the Broncos, for instance, I think 1996 was the last year they did the D with the Bronco and the steam coming out of its face.
Go back to the Bronco uniform. Go back to the Orange Crush uniforms.
Yeah, that's another retro.
I would love to see the Orange Crush uniforms back. So.
If you're on the 1996 Broncos Pro Football Reference page has that logo, the Orange Crush logo, and then 97 is the logo they have now. So that's when the switch happened.
Yeah, that's one of those instances where I don't think they really needed to update the logo. I thought they had a perfectly good logo. I liked it.
Well, that's another instance where they had never won the Super Bowl before they switched logo. The first year.
Yeah, but what does that mean? That's coincidence.
Well, you were talking about it with the Steelers and the Buccaneers. Larry Orange has
that's an interesting take because that logo actually belongs to the Nashville to the Tennessee Titans.
Right. Yeah. If the Tennessee Titans wanted to do a retro, they could do
right. Yeah, that logo, they could do powder blues, but that oil derrick helmet they couldn't do because that belongs to the Titans.
They were the Tennessee Oilers for 1 year.
Yes, they were. That's right. For 1 year. Yeah, well, it took them a while to get the stadium ready when they made the move to Tennessee. Bud Adams kind of really screwed that up as far as the move. So, it was rough, But yeah, it would be interesting to see the Texans use it, but license-wise, they cannot use it. So that's the only problem.
Excuse me, they were the Tennessee Oilers for 2 years, and
when they were in Memphis.
Oh,
that's right. Before they made the change to Nashville. When they were in Memphis, they kept the Oilers name.
I'm trying to just double check you, but Pro Football Reference does not say where the home stadium is, at least not easily. So, did they played in Memphis for 2 years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when they first made the move, they played in Memphis for 2 seasons.
Okay.
And the Patriots made the change in 1993.
1993. Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, and then because the stadium in Nashville wasn't ready yet. Well, it turns out that the fan bases are not very good together as far as Memphis and Nashville. They're very competitive, not comparable fan bases. So the Oilers had a few problems with the move because the people of Nashville weren't embracing the Oilers because they were over in Memphis. People of Memphis weren't embracing the Oilers because they were going to go to Nashville. So it really did not work out well for that franchise for a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, like most states, Tennessee is divided, whether it's north, south, east, or west. There's usually a stigma, right, over one place over the other in most states. And Tennessee definitely has that with Nashville and Memphis. I've experienced that visiting there now living in Atlanta.
Okay.
I learned that very early on in my move, that people in Eastern Tennessee do not like people in Western Tennessee.
Yeah, for their first 2 years, the Oilers played in Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, which is in Memphis.
Okay.
So, and then they made the move to Tennessee and lost that Super Bowl. That's the year they went to the Super Bowl.
I was going to bring up again. They went 8-8 in Memphis for 2 years, 8-8 and 8-8, and then they went 13-3, went to the Super Bowl. So
they came within a yard of winning the thing.
Right, yeah, or at least going to overtime, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean that just a yard away. That's all it takes. That's the difference between victory and defeat. Kevin Dyson found that out. Just couldn't stretch the ball far enough. So, but yeah. So it'd be fun to see the Titans wear the oil derricks again, and get those out. But I mean, what other uniforms would you like to see? What in particular are you looking for?
I would like to see the Seahawks silver helmet.
Yeah, that would be good.
I think would be really good. And I did some work covering the Seahawks at heavy.com in February and early March, and their CEO talked about wanting to do a retro jersey. The fans want to see it, and really they were waiting for the NFL to change this 2-helmet rule, which we talked about at the beginning of the show. And now that it's changed, they didn't want to do it without the silver helmet. So now that they can have the silver helmet, they're going to do some kind of retro uniforms, probably back to when they were in the AFC. And that'll be really cool to see that. That's not going to happen this year, but I think next year. Yeah,
that would be a heck of a look. And I would love to see that, because that was a nice clean uniform look. The neon green I've never been a fan of, but to each his own. To me it just doesn't work for me. But
Seahawks have made like subtle changes to uniform every year, it seems like, and like I didn't like the all dark blue look they had when they were in the Super Bowl in the mid 2000s, but I did like their uniform more when they went back to the Super Bowl in 2013, 2014. It was a little bit better. It was, as far as a modern, like if you didn't have for a team that didn't have a classic look like the Packers or Chiefs or Bears,
right?
It was,
if you can't take your history back to the 1940s or 1950s,
the Seahawks don't have that uniform history. So I think for what they were trying to be different, for trying to be modernized, and I think they accomplished that in a good way with their most recent uniform edition.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that. So, yeah, as long as they stay out of the neon greens, I'm good. But that's the color rush. That has to do with the NFL and Nike. So that's a different story altogether. Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
The Bengals uniform, the Bengals helmet with BENGALS on the helmet.
That would be interesting. I've always kind of liked the tiger stripes on their helmet because I just like the animal tigers. So
yeah. But that plain orange uniform with Bengals spelled out on top of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll do that at some point. That would be an interesting throwback. I'd like to see that, because that's how they started out with the, they wore that for quite a while too. That's surprising. They stayed with that look for quite a while. But that would be one of the weirder throwback helmets that we could get into, that we could see. Let's see.
Well, I got one for you. You mentioned the green, that you didn't like the lime green. How do you feel about the Kelly green with the Philadelphia Eagles?
I don't think it's that bad.
I like it a lot. And
I don't think it's a bad look.
Philly fans like it. I know that.
Yeah. I think it actually works. So I for Eagles, I would say stay with what you got. I mean, a throwback Eagles uniform, I don't like their old helmets. I don't think they're very distinctive. Well, there hasn't been a lot of change in the logo on the helmet, but I don't think they're very distinctive as far as their helmets. So yeah, I would stay with what they have. I think they've done a good job kind of adapting their logo to, to the present day and keeping it tied to the past. And I do like it.
It's another example of 3D, making your logo more 3D.
Yeah.
The way the eagle wing that they have now and have had for like 20, 25 years.
Right.
I like the Kelly green though. I would like to see them wear the older uniform more often. And it again, I think they've done that, but they wear their current helmets and it just doesn't match.
It doesn't it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So you lose that feeling, that throwback feeling when you got to wear the modern helmet.
Well, I got a couple more, but do you have any others? It's your turn.
Well, I want to see him put the helmet back on the Dolphin.
That would be cool too. Yeah.
Because they kind of streamlined the Dolphin and took the helmet off of it.
Well, the Dolphin's swimming now. I don't like the swimming Dolphin. I like the Dolphin jumping through the hoop.
The old Dolphin.
And put the helmet back on him. Yeah, I like that idea.
Put the helmet back on the Dolphin.
Yeah.
Because it's I don't really care for that. Yeah, when the Dolphin was kind of leaping out of the water and they had the helmet on. I thought that was a cool logo. I love that logo. I love that.
I did too. I did too. I like, when you're a kid, a lot of your fandom, besides the team you root for, is based on logos and jerseys and stuff. And, and I always did kind of like the Dolphins because of that logo.
Right. Exactly. I always thought that was a cool logo.
Another logo I liked as a kid, and I liked this team as a kid, the Bills red helmet.
Yes.
They've kind of gone more retro now because they've after the red helmet, they had, I forget what they had after the red helmet. And it was one of those modernized looks that I didn't like at all. And then they've gone back to the old logo, but with a white helmet. And I would much rather them wear the blue jerseys, not navy blue, all blue 1990s Bills jerseys with those great red helmets. They went to 4 Super Bowls in.
Those red helmets were sharp. They really were. And you don't want to see them going back to the standing buffalo on their helmets.
That's the one like the O.J. Simpson era?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad, but I like the red ones much better.
Yeah, where the buffalo is actually in movement and
And you got the stripe through them.
Stripe through it, yeah. I know. I get what you're saying. The old the standing buffalo, no, I wasn't a big fan of them.
Okay.
I just thought it was funny that, that would be their logo. But no, I like the red helmet look. And I do hope that they go back to see that one. But, a lot of teams really haven't changed as much as you would think. I want the Rams to get rid of this new logo that they just installed and go back to their, God, does that look like crap? It looks like garbage. I don't know how much they paid to have a design firm go in and do that.
The LA logo?
The LA logo.
But that's not on their helmets, though.
That split color scheme with the blue and the yellow is on their helmets.
So what would you like them to go back to?
Go back to the white horns.
Oh, you like the white horn?
Or the blue, or the dark blue helmets with the yellow horns.
The one that's the Kurt Warner.
The Super Bowl era.
When they won the first Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah, I want to see him go back to those.
Surprise, surprise, being a Pittsburgh fan. I like yellow more than the gold for the Rams.
Yeah, so do I. I think it would. Think it would look a lot better. Actually, the Rams were the first team to have a logo on their helmet.
Were they?
Yeah, they had. I forget the player's name, but he was an artist and he painted ram's horns on the helmet. And that became the first helmet logo that actually appeared in the game. And it went on from there. So, yeah, those ram's horns were the first logo on a helmet in the NFL history.
Interesting. And, we still have some teams that don't have logos on their helmet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy for the Browns to actually do a retro helmet. Well, I mean, they changed the tint of the color a little bit. But, that helmet has basically stayed. Well, Paul Brown was a very basic guy. I mean, Paul Brown was the guy who owned the Bengals when they came into the AFL, and that's how they ended up with BENGALS on their helmets.
Right.
I mean, Paul Brown didn't worry about, the look. He was worried about the guys in the uniforms. As long as the guys in the uniforms could play, that's all he cared about. And for a long time, the guys in the Cleveland uniforms could play, were incredible. They entered the league in 1950 from the AAFC, All-American Football Conference, that had went defunct, and went to 6 straight championship games, I believe it was. So, a team that really took the NFL by storm. It's amazing how bad they are now and realizing how dominant they were for a long time. They were always a scary team to face. But it's interesting to see how that team has evolved into one of the bottom feeders of the NFL because, if you know their history, it's funny because the NFL they had won all 4 titles in the AAFC, and they and the San Francisco 49ers were moved into the NFL, were absorbed into the NFL from 1950. And the NFL wanted to teach the Browns a lesson. They said, because the Browns had this reputation coming out of their old league, 4 straight championships. I think they only lost 2 games in 4 years. So the NFL put them up against the 1949 NFL champion Philadelphia Eagles. And the Browns just completely buried. I think it was like 35-10. They embarrassed the NFL champions. So the NFL kind of ended up with egg on their face then. It was interesting how the Browns broke into the NFL.
Well, Larry Orange has a question that I think you might be able to answer, Tom. He's wondering why the Browns have orange helmets. Never understood
that. No, I've never understood that either, Larry.
I don't have an answer either.
I don't have an answer for you other than the fact that, as I say, Paul Brown, it was a more basic era. So, man, oh God. So, but where were we going? It was a basic era. So, you had more basic helmets, and that's just what the Browns had. I mean, that's what they've always worn.
But they could have had a all brown helmet.
Yeah, and as I say, they changed the tint of the color a couple of times. So I think it was more brown in the older days, and they wanted to kind of make it look a little bit more, modernize it without modernizing it and actually putting a logo on it. I mean, after 70 years, are you actually going to put a logo on the Browns helmet now?
No,
you really can't.
Yeah.
And what are you going to put? A crayon with the, brown,
Well, they had that. I don't know what he was. Remember that? I don't know. He looked like a Christmas elf.
Yes. Yes, they did. The little brownie.
Was he? What is that? An elf? You know what I'm talking about.
It's like a brownie, a type of elf. It's a mythical character, and they used to have that as their team logo. Yeah.
Yeah, so, put that in the helmet. That'd be interesting.
Oh, I can see that. That would be funny. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that these days. It's funny because the Steelers haven't really changed their look either.
Well, I mean, they keep bringing back retro stuff for the Steelers, and I never thought that they really wore any different uniforms. I guess in the last 50 years they haven't made very small changes to their regular uniform, but yeah, they've worn gold helmets, which I guess they wore in like the 40s or something, and then the bumblebees, of course.
God, that's a terrible look.
Yeah, awful. They're absolutely awful.
Oh man. Those were even worse than the Packers mustard uniforms.
Yeah, they're bad. They're definitely up there. It's the worst uniforms ever.
But it is interesting that the Steelers have stayed fairly constant with that particular logo, basically like the U.S. Steel logo. And, for a long time, and I don't see why they should ever change it. It's iconic at this point.
Oh, yeah.
You really can't do anything with it.
I agree. Yeah, there's no reason to change the helmet for sure, or really the jerseys, but small variations here and there on the lettering or stripes. But definitely with the helmet and the logo, leave that alone. It's interesting. The Steelers are also the only team that has the logo on one side of their helmet.
Yes, they are.
So you got the Browns in that division with no logo on the helmet, no logo really at all at this point.
Yeah.
And you got the Steelers, their biggest rival, who only puts the logo on one side of the helmet.
Right. Yeah. So a little strange, but yeah, I would like to see a throwback between the Bengals, a throwback uniform with the old Bengals helmets. And the Ravens have basically been uninteresting since they've come into the league. I've never been overly big fan of their logo, their look. They're kind of blah, but what can you say?
Well, I mean, the Vikings make purple work, but I think for the most part, like purple isn't the best color to work with. And purple and black, I don't like purple and black together.
But the Vikings have been wearing purple ever since they came in the league.
And it works. I think that works for them. They have a good helmet and a good logo.
Yeah. And, that's how you get a defensive line that's nicknamed Purple People Eaters.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
In the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
So, that's when purple is cool, is when you can have a defensive line that's called the Purple People Eaters. So, yeah. The Ravens haven't really done much to make it cool. So I wish they could kind of reimagine what they do with those logos, but I guess if you're a Ravens fan, they work. So that's the way it is.
Yeah. Do you like the bird better, or back in like 2000?
No. I like.
Did they have the bird on the helmet in 2002, or did they have the like?
They had the stylized R with the wings coming out of it.
Yeah.
No, I like the bird now. I think it's an improvement from what they had, without a doubt. Because I didn't like it. So, big fan of that. Let's see. So yeah, got a lot of retro, but not a lot of teams that have changed their helmet. I mean, the Packers really haven't changed much. The Bears haven't changed much. I think San Francisco is talking about going to the red helmets again with the San Francisco logo, which would be a hot look.
I think the theme for us is red helmets are good. We want to see the Falcons red helmets, the Bills red helmet, the 49ers red helmet. Red helmets are...
I agree. I like red helmets.
Sharp.
Yeah, I like red helmets. I'm all for it. As I say, I like what the Falcons have come up with as far as their helmet and jersey. It's nice to see them go back to the red. I'm just not a fan of... the all black looks good for a while. It looks tough for a while. But it kind of loses its personality after a while, too. So I embrace their move back to wearing some of the red again.
Yeah, I think the black helmet with the red jersey works. You want to have some kind of color. I don't think the all black looks good either. And what I mean by that is, black pants, black shirt, black helmet.
Right. But again, that was Jerry Glanville's doing.
Yeah.
He was the man in black on the sidelines. This is a guy who left a ticket for Elvis, before at the will call before each game. So, that's kind of it's kind of the mentality you're dealing with when the Falcons made the big change to black.
Well, if you have any other, throwback looks, helmets that we missed that you want to see in the NFL, let us know. Send us a comment if you're watching live, or tweet at us if you're watching on replay at TJ Pollen at DM Holcomb. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app and Prize Picks, and use our promo code ASU when you sign up. You'll get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So free money. Put down 100, get back 100 with that promo code ASU. It's a great way to support us, and you get some free cash to play some games on Prize Picks.
And there are a lot of games you can go to on Prize Picks. A lot of options. So you can usually find something that looks decent that you can put 2 or 3 prop bets on and come back a winner. Come back with a little extra money, a little more spending cash. So very nice. Nice the way it works.
So in OTAs, Arthur Smith is trying some different things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and it's the time of year to do that. And one of the things that he is trying out is Felipe Franks at tight end. And we kind of mentioned this or talked about it last year, or really talked about how he's not a quarterback, not an NFL quarterback.
He's not.
And then to stay in the league, he might need to earn a spot as a tight end or an H-back or something else other than just a third string tight end. But, early reactions, Tom, what do you think of, trying out Franks at tight end?
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. I think it's a great move. Why not see if he can do something else, that can help the team? That would be a positive for the team. I think it works. I have no argument with it. I know everybody. I think the main criticism is that the fans are saying that Franks, it's already a big tight end room, but it's not a very veteran tight end room. Okay, because I think you got 3 rookies going in this year. Got Anthony Ferkser, who worked with Arthur Smith in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So you do have a couple of things there, and of course, Kyle Pitts. But why not? I mean, Franks is a big guy. He's 6'6", 240 pounds. Why not try him out at tight end? See, he's an athletic guy. He can move at that size. So let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can contribute to the team. If he can give you a few interesting third down looks as a tight end, he could still be your emergency quarterback. There's nothing that says he can't be your emergency quarterback.
Right.
But to me, that's all he's ever going to be in his career is an emergency quarterback. I don't think, I think it was kind of interesting to see him play quarterback in the preseason last year, but he's not a quarterback. He's just not. And I think tight end is with his size, if he can adjust to it, if he can get off the line of scrimmage, it's not necessarily the route running that you worry about. It's can he block? Can he take on the blocking assignments at tight end? And then go from there. Because that's a lot to learn for an NFL player, for an NFL tight end. It takes an NFL tight end a little while to adjust to the pro game because you're being asked to do a lot more at the position than you are in college coming up as a tight end. You have to do more things. You have to block. You have to chip block. You're kind of learning the NFL route tree from scratch. It's a lot to learn, but I don't see why not. Let's see if he can do it. Let's see if he has the aptitude for it, and bring him along. It's win-win for me as far as this move.
Yeah, two things that jump out to me. One, I hope this doesn't come across as super negative, but this is the type of thing that I think rebuilding teams do. They try different things. They try to be a little bit experimental. The Falcons are doing this by converting the cornerback Avery Williams to running back. They're doing kind of the same thing there with trying him out at a different position. Yeah, it has to do with the depth they have at cornerback, but they're seeing where everybody fits, and this is the time of year to do that.
Right.
With 3 months still to go before the regular season. Franks, the Falcons don't have a ton of depth at quarterback, I would say. But, Franks, it's pretty clear, as you said, that, he's not an NFL quarterback. So it's good for him to try something else as opposed to taking the Tim Tebow approach of, no, I'm only a quarterback. And that would be my second thing to say, that it's not unusual for quarterbacks to make this move. Logan Thomas moved to was it Logan Thomas, or am I getting the name wrong? There have been tight ends in the past that started out at quarterback, and they don't become, all pro tight ends, but they have some productive seasons as either a blocking tight end or a receiving tight end. So
they can contribute. Right.
I can see Franks getting a roster spot that way, and also perhaps being the third string quarterback as well. I guess the third point I would make is just that, the versatility that Franks can give if he can do both emergency quarterback role and depth tight end. That's one extra roster spot you can spend somewhere else, and the roster spots are heavily coveted today because there's just not that many of them, and there are lots of talented players trying to make the league, trying to make the team.
Yeah, never hurts to have that extra position that you can contribute at. So, as I say, he's got the body of a tight end. So let's see if he can actually play the position. It's going to be interesting to watch him develop. And can he catch the ball? Can he move against defensive backs? He's another big target. Arthur Smith is going for big targets. Felipe Franks is a big target. Kyle Pitts is a big target. It seems like that's what Drake London, big target. That seems to be what Arthur Smith wants out of his team this season. He wants guys who can go up over defensive backs and go get the ball.
I just double checked. Yeah, it is Logan Thomas. I'm not sure why I doubted myself. He did start as a quarterback, played quarterback in college, started as a quarterback with the Arizona Cardinals in 2014. They transitioned him to tight end, played for a bunch of teams, and then finally caught on with Washington and has had a pretty productive couple of years. Yeah, being Washington's starting tight end.
Yeah, he has. And as I say, to the players, as long as they can stay in the league and do what they want to do and make a contribution to the team, it works out for both sides. It's always a positive. And I have nothing against moving a defensive player to offense or trying to, trying different things. Sometimes maybe their skill set isn't on defense. Maybe their skill set is better fitted to an offensive position. I remember a long time ago, the Bears decided that James Williams, he came into the league as a defensive end. They converted him to a right tackle, and he was an all Pro Bowl right tackle for a long time. Mountain of a man. I saw him in person once. You talk about television, you don't quite get a feel for the size. Players look maybe smaller on television. No, Big Cat Williams looked big on television. He looked huge in real life. This was a mountain of a man. So yeah, you can do that. You can make that kind of trade if you believe a player has a skill set that works better at a different position. If you get a look at him for a while and think, well, I could see him, the Bears switched Devin Hester from cornerback. He was a terrible cornerback.
Yeah.
He was a lousy defensive back coming out of college. Used him straight as their return man for a while, then decided they didn't want to extend him as just a return man because they didn't want to pay that much money to someone who was just a return man. So they turned him into a receiver. Well, he was a decent receiver for a while too. Mm-hmm. So, sometimes you can do that. You can take somebody from defense to offense, offense to defense, and make that kind of switch. And if you got a talented enough player or a player whose skill set works better at that position, yeah, it'll work for you. But you got to kind of pay attention to the skill set. Make sure your player can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, we see this kind of change a lot in college. Guys come in from high school, they're just labeled as athletes, right? They don't even have a position, and they're going to just figure it out. The team will figure it out as they go. Maybe, that should be more common in the NFL. Have draft guys as athletes and just figure out where they might fit during OTAs, like the Falcons are doing with a couple players this year.
Well, I think unofficially they kind of do that. The NFL teams have never been shy about moving a player to a different position. Not as drastic from offense to defense or from defense to offense, but maybe taking a guy from strong safety to free safety, moving a guy from safety to cornerback, moving a cornerback to safety because they look a little bit better. They have a better build and a better skill set for safety. So, they do that all the time as far as, making adjustments on the fly with a player when they come into camp, when they first get a look at them. Sometimes, you don't normally see these drastic moves where you kind of get the, cornerback turned into a running back, or, Felipe Franks is going to, getting a look at tight end, but again, it's dramatic, but it fits the skill set of what these guys can do. I mean, Felipe Franks physically could be a very good tight end. Now we got to see if he can play the position, which is what Arthur Smith is doing. There's nothing lost by seeing if Felipe Franks can play the position right now.
Right.
Yeah. You're in OTAs. You can make you can do these experiments right now and see how guys fit onto your team.
Absolutely. Yep. I totally agree. So we'll continue to monitor where Franks is during the, summer workouts and then training camp that starts in roughly 6 weeks, probably away from training camp starting.
Yeah, we're not that far, are we?
Yeah, we're really not. Well, we've hit 1:00 here on the East Coast. We do have a few minutes left in our hour because we started late. I want to mention some news that will be coming out on Monday, according to reports and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time discussing. I don't think there's a lot to discuss other than just this is a headache for the Cleveland Browns that just won't go away is really kind of I think you know where I'm going with this now. A 24th civil case is expected to be filed against Cleveland Browns' new quarterback, Deshaun Watson, according to Cleveland.com's Mary Kay Cabot. And this comes just days after the 23rd case, civil case was brought against Watson.
Right.
And I think he reportedly offered, what was it? He offered $100,000 settlement to the first 22 women that filed civil cases against him. So I guess this is going to lead to another investigation, or does it go back to court again, or to another grand jury with these new civil cases coming out? I don't know what the legal ramifications are for Deshaun Watson. And at the end of the day, not that that doesn't matter. It does, of course. But in terms of football, the takeaway here is Watson is becoming a huge distraction for the Cleveland Browns.
Sure is.
You were talking about a half hour ago, has been a laughingstock in the league. And I was actually going to push back against that because they've been better the last few years with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. But they've cast Baker Mayfield to the curb.
Yep.
They're bringing in Deshaun Watson. And with all of the baggage that Watson is bringing to Cleveland, I cannot believe that any team wanted to trade for him. It is unbelievable that the Houston Texans got all of the draft picks that they got for Deshaun Watson with all of the things that he's bringing to his new team. And I guess he still could not play a big portion of this season.
Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know what the legal ramifications are right now myself, but it's a situation that's getting worse. I know when the Browns signed him, the thought was, well, let's get these 22 cases settled, get the suspension from the NFL out of the way, and then we can move forward as a player.
That was the way it was billed when they brought him in. Like, it's over. It's been settled. So now he's on the trade block. All these teams wanted to get him, and they signed him to a new deal. Okay, and we're just waiting for the suspension, and then it's done. Right. And now it just keeps coming back up, and more keeps coming out. And the lawyer went on the radio yesterday and implied that, the happy ending thing, it just is a disaster. It's becoming a disaster for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it is. And let me just say, I'm not surprised. I kind of expected this. I did not think that it was all over. I think everybody was being very naive to believe it was all over. This did not surprise me at all. And I think the Browns are getting exactly what they deserve out of this deal. Because, I think the Texans really profited. They get this big distraction out of their clubhouse.
Yeah.
They could start over again. They have Lovie Smith as head coach, a veteran head coach who can knows how to guide a team, knows how to grow a team. So, very good defensive coach. So you got a very good situation all of a sudden in Texas, where last year it was like everything was coming apart for Texas, because of the Deshaun Watson situation. Well, things are cleaned up there. They got draft picks. They got a young quarterback. He may not be any good, but they got a young quarterback. And they got Lovie Smith as a head coach.
They have a direction. They have a direction, and they have a plan. They have lots of draft stock, draft picks, which everyone loves today. And again, to get all of that draft capital for a guy that, I guess it's possible he never plays again. I know that's like highly unlikely, but we don't know where these cases are going to go.
We don't know. Right. We have no idea.
That uncertainty should be enough. The uncertainty alone of the fact he hasn't played in 2 years should have been enough that he wasn't worth 3 first-round picks. But now he might not even play like this year. And he'll be 3 years. Even if he does play again, now he'll be 3 years removed from his last playing.
It's tough for an NFL player to come back after being out of the game for 1 year. I've seen guys sit out for a year and come back and not be the same player. They're just not. You cannot come back like that. It's a tough thing. You think it wouldn't be, but it is a tough thing. Well, Le'Veon Bell. He never came back to be the back that he was before he started holding out.
Yeah, great example.
So a lot of these guys, a lot of people underestimate the effect of sitting out for a year, what it does to a player. And it's going to be interesting to see. The Bears just had a guy who sat out 1 year because of COVID, Eddie Goldman at nose tackle. He came back. He was nowhere near the player that he was before, the year he took off. It doesn't happen well. It doesn't work well for the player. And I'm going to be very interested. If he does play, I'm going to be interested to see how effective he is, because you take a year off in this league for whatever reason, it's tough to come back at that same level. You just don't do it. Very rare that somebody can do it.
Well, selfishly, I'm very happy that the Cleveland Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, because that means he is not in Atlanta. And we're not talking every single week about what woman has accused Deshaun Watson of now.
Oh, I'm with you there.
And look, I'm not saying that those conversations aren't important. They absolutely are.
They are important
conversations. But for my own sanity and for our show and our audience, aren't we all happy that we're not talking about Deshaun Watson being on the Falcons and whether or not he's going to be playing this year, and the fact that they don't have Drake London and the future first-round picks they would make next year and the year after if they had Deshaun Watson instead? So happy that that's not the case with the Atlanta Falcons.
Pantera said Watson isn't L. Bell sitting out. DW is younger. I got one name for you right there, Pantera. Todd Bell. Bears, early 80s. Young guy, safety. Played for the 84 Bears, was one of their toughest safeties on the team. Sat out for the 85 season, which actually was the Super Bowl season. He and Al Harris sat out for more money. Didn't get to play in the Super Bowl. Came back the following season and were never the same player. They were young players. They had only been with the Bears for 2 or 3 years. So it doesn't matter the age. I'm telling you, you sit out a year, it's not the same. I've seen it for a long time. All right? It's not you rarely get the same player back.
Different positions, but Le'Veon Bell and Deshaun Watson are the same age. The season that they missed, they were the same age. They were both 26. Le'Veon Bell came back with the Jets in 2019. He was 27, which is on the kind of older side for a running back, as opposed to Deshaun Watson.
Still pretty good for a running back, though. I mean, it's not bad.
No, not bad. Not bad. Should have still been in his prime. Maybe more towards the end of his prime, but still in his prime, and he wasn't anymore. And Deshaun Watson, I mean, quarterbacks, you remain in your prime for much longer. So, I mean, Watson should definitely be in his prime right now. But anyway, my point is, Bell and Watson, the season they missed, they were both 26.
Yeah,
they're both coming back. They're both. If Watson's back this year, he'll be the same age that Bell was when he came back, 27.
It makes a difference.
We'll answer Larry Orange's question real quick, and then we're gonna. That'll be the end of our show. Do you think the Browns or Baker Mayfield will kiss and make up?
I think they might have to. I don't know if they'll kiss. They might shake hands. They might, I think Baker Mayfield's going to be looking for the knife in the other hand. Or this might be the Godfather type kiss, where Godfather 2, where Al Pacino goes, Fredo, I know what you did, that kind of thing. And they kiss, but, Pacino lets Fredo know that, hey, I know you betrayed me. So, that might be that kind of kiss, where Baker Mayfield just goes up to the Browns and says, hey, for public's sake, I'm kissing you, but here are the words. You betrayed me.
I think that relationship's beyond repair. They're not making up. The only way that they would make up is if Watson is not on the roster. Like if Watson is, even if he's suspended for the whole season, but the Browns keep him on the roster, so he's the quarterback in 2023. No way does Baker Mayfield go back there and say, yeah, I'll be your quarterback for one season.
Right.
No way. And he's not playing for them for 6 games. If it's a 6-game suspension, 8-game suspension, doesn't matter. Baker Mayfield will never play for the Browns again unless something happens with Watson where he gets cut. That's not going to happen. So the Mayfield and playing in Cleveland is, I think, done.
But I don't think the Browns have made a very strong effort to trade Mayfield lately.
He's not worth anything. Nobody
He's
wants
worth something to two teams.
What's that?
He's worth something to two teams.
The Seahawks and Panthers?
Panthers, but they don't want him at the $18.25 million.
Right.
That's the problem. But yeah, I mean, the Browns aren't going to get anything back for him at this point because everybody knows the situation that, the Browns have no traction in this situation.
Right. So, they have no leverage. No team is going to offer anything worthwhile to pay him $19 million for one season. When they basically know that Mayfield should get cut. I mean, I guess the Browns aren't guaranteed to do that, but they should cut him at the beginning of the season if Watson's good. Even if Watson's not ready to go, I still don't think Mayfield's going to report and play for them. So you might just cut him, or eat the salary and trade him and get.
Well, he's dead cap at this point anyway.
Just get rid of him to move on. You got enough distractions with Deshaun Watson. Do you need Baker Mayfield being a distraction too?
No, you don't want that. You don't want that. You made your bed. I mean, that's it. The Browns have made their bed. That's they have no choice. And I think you're right. I don't know if unless something drastic happens with Deshaun Watson, no, Baker Mayfield isn't playing there. He'll take the fines, and that'll be it.
Pantera makes the point about Vic being out for an extended period of time, being in jail and coming back and being a good player again. That's a worthwhile point, Pantera. And I don't mean to suggest that Watson's going to be trash. I'm just saying that is he going to be worth 3 first-round picks? I mean, Russell Wilson got traded. Russell Wilson's a little bit older, admittedly, but Wilson got traded, and he didn't get back 3 first-round picks. I just thought the overall draft capital that Cleveland had to give up for a quarterback that maybe might not be, but maybe not as good, and maybe not even playing this year was a lot. And our last comment today, we got to wrap up from Sean, and he brings us back to our original topic, loves the retro red uniforms and the new red helmet.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I really like that look. I'm sorry they ever went away from it. I think they should have stuck with it. And if you wanted to update the logo a little bit, that's fine. But, yeah, I like the red look. So I'm a fan.
Well, thanks for tuning in today. You can follow us on Twitter at TJ Pollen, at DM Holcomb. Check out Atlanta Sports Unlimited for all of your Atlanta sports coverage. Give us a like on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's a great way to support us. Also, you can support us by downloading the Prize Picks app using our promo code ASU. When you use that promo code, you get a 100% deposit on, or 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So check out Prize Picks today, and we'll be back next Saturday.
Yep. Have a great week, everyone.